all the power there is, all the presence there is, all the love there is, all the peace there is, all the good there is, and the only God there is omnipresent.
And the people teaching them, practitioners and ministers, were walking around the grounds and were easily accessible all the time. I can't tell you how many conversations I had just walking by someone. We say hello, and I see Reverend Doctor or Reverend, and we launch off into these conversations. The individual conversations were as powerful, if not more, than the actual talks themselves.
How do I know whether this idea that I have is a divine idea or it's some pie-in-the-sky idea? In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes tells us over and over again that there's something within us that knows. The Bible tells us that the Father knoweth what things you have need of even before you ask. That even before the prayer is prayed, the solution is provided. That before the question is asked, it is answered. But how do we know the answer we think we are hearing is the right answer? And one way that we may search is we look for a sign. Anybody ever look for a sign? God, give me a sign. Another way we look at is we try to be logical. We do a list of pros and cons. We seek the advice of friends, of therapists, of ministers, practitioners, anyone that will listen. So what we're searching for, he says now, today, the greatest thing we seek for is discernment, the ability to know the truth. And so when I was thinking about where to start this journey of knowing how to know, the answer that immediately popped into my head was, first and foremost, we must have a willingness to listen. Ernest Holmes writes in the Science of the Mind textbook, the spirit within us is God, and only to the degree that we listen to and seek to obey this spirit shall we really, truly succeed. What if I just listened on Sunday morning, just listened to that divine voice within me and allowed that to guide and direct my talk today? I thought, well, that's a really good idea, but as soon as that idea came up, I started to argue with it. I said, no. And why was I arguing? Because I was afraid. It's a fearful idea. Absolute terror. What if I didn't have anything to say? What if I forgot what I was going to say? Which I do. Diane, I forget the lyrics. She's my prompter. Fear that God wouldn't show up and express through me perfectly. And of course, you know, it is my fear of that that would cause all those things I fear to happen. What do we believe? Who do we trust? Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook writes, fear blocks the more complete givingness of the Spirit to humankind. Fear arises from that mental attitude which limits the possibility and the willingness of Spirit to give us the good we so greatly desire. So who's stopping us from knowing? We are. How can you move towards willingness? Even the smallest little baby steps. As we have a willingness to listen, we come to realize that our answers, our guidance, and our inspiration may come directly, or it may come indirectly, perhaps in a conversation, or through inspiration, or a piece of great music, in something we read or something we see. David was talking about his conversations were just as enlightening as the workshops and the talks were. We must learn to listen to this voice, call it conscience, intuition, whatever you want. It is there. No one need go unguided through life, for we are all divine at the center, and all are images of the Most High.
Moment of grace happens inside us. One of the ways God reminds us is